want you to ask yourself a question. And the question is, how significant is my life? Do I make a difference? When I make a move, when I make a decision, does the universe notice? Do I really matter? That's a question you could ask yourself. Well, Toastmasters, guest. In 1963, a scientist named Lorenz came up with a theory wherein a butterfly would flap its wings and the air from those wings would increase to all the way around the globe. It would cause a hurricane. Now, naturally, this was met with scorn and disdain with the scientific community of 1963. However, it's very intriguing to the people that do science fiction movies and comic books, and they really loved it. It was an intriguing possibility. 30 years later, science has proven that this is a real thing, and it works. And it's actually got a name. It's the law of sensitive dependence upon initial conditions. And it's not just a butterfly, it's the movement of anything through space affects other things. Now I want you to step back with me now. 100 years before this ever came on, to 1963, on July the 2nd, I want you to join me on the field with a 32-year-old teacher named Joshua, mine goes blank, Chamberlain. He was qualified to be a colonel in the Union Army because, catch it, he was a professor of rhetoric at Bowdoin College. And when he went in and signed up, he had a college education, and they go, "You're a colonel." His brother went in after him, and he goes, "You're a lieutenant." That's the way it was back then. But Joshua was one man that was faced with a huge dilemma, because his Colonel Vincent told him, "You must hold this line that starts here and stretches all the way over there with 80,000 men, and it ends in the town of Gettysburg." What an ordeal, what an order he had to follow for this. All his training as a professor in school was wasted. He had his men here. They started out in Maine a couple of months ago. There were 1,000 of them. Now there are only 300. And we have a line that we have to defend. So early in the morning, they built the line up, flat rocks. At 2:30 in the afternoon, the 15th and 47th Alabama came screaming up the hill, firing their rifles and doing the rebel yell. And they were repulsed. Shortly thereafter, they regrouped, and they came back again, and they were repulsed. And they came back again, and they were repulsed. On the fourth time up, Joshua was hit. Exactly. But it was in his belt buckle.
All right.
He realized he wasn't dead, and so he was going to fight. So they repulsed him the fourth time. And after the fourth time of repulsing them, he got thinking about how unqualified he was for this job, how little he knew about commanding men. But he knew, however, if he gave this position up, it would be a downhill run for these rebels to go behind Union lines and wipe out his 80,000 Union brothers. He was in a quandary. Am I fit to do this? Am I even fit to do this? I don't know. But in the meantime, here comes wave number 5. Wave number 5 was really something because they broke through the line. And it was hand-to-hand combat. People didn't have time to reload. They didn't have automatic weapons. It took them 30 to 45 seconds to reload. And so it was hand-to-hand combat. And somehow they held them. They held them back, and they went back down the hill. Joshua looked down and ascertained what was going on. And the Sergeant Tozer came up with his brother Tom, Joshua's brother Tom. Sergeant Tozer was one of those tough old NCOs that kept the service alive. He was wounded up here, so he took a part of a shirt and stuffed it in the wound. Sergeant Tozer came up to him and he said, "We are in bad shape. The 83rd has let loose. We're barely able to hold this. Can we extend the line?" "I don't know." Joshua's mind's going like crazy. "How much ammunition do we have?" "I don't know." "Tom, you go find out." He sent Tom out to find out how much ammunition they had. In the meantime, the 12-year-old lookout, and they had 12-year-olds in the war, and the tree goes, "Sir, they're forming again." And there are more of them. The 47th and the 15th were reinforced by a Texas regiment. The conundrum, one man has to make a decision. Oh, that's not enough pressure. There comes a runner in the middle of all of it saying, "Colonel, sir, Colonel Vincent is dead." "Well, what about Weeds? Weeds, who relieved him, is dead." "What about Hazlitt? Hazlitt's battery's dead." "It's me. It's me and my men. It's me and my men." And by that time, they came back with a report to him and said, "We can't extend the line. There's only 80 of us left. From 300, there's 80 now." Joshua's head is spinning circles. He doesn't know what to do because he has people telling him on one side, we need to retreat. We can't. Sergeant Tozer said, "Sir, we've got to go back." And Joshua was just nothing else. He was stubborn. He said, "You know what? I may die, but I'm not going to die with a bullet in the back." So he got up on the wall to look at the troops that were down there. And we looked at him. In the meantime, his brother is shouting at him, "Joshua, give an order! Give an order!" He turned around to him and said, "Fix bayonets." Nobody moved. "Fix bayonets! Follow my orders!" He fixed bayonets. Pulled out his sword. He said, "Sergeant, I want to do a giant wheel right." And he went down the line. And one of the other men on the line, one of the other sergeants says, "What's a giant wheel right?" He says, "Son, that's a full-out charge." Joshua goes down the line. He's told him all what's going on. He climbs up on the wall again, and he goes, "Charge! Charge! Charge!" His men don't know what's going on. They know they have their bayonets fixed, and there's their leader, and they charged. They charged the Confederates, who threw down their guns and ran. Within 5 minutes, Joshua was at the neck of a Confederate captain saying, "Sir, you are my prisoner." The Confederate captain handed over his Navy revolver, which was fully loaded, and says, "Yes, I am, sir." Within 5 minutes, his 80 men had captured 400 men with no ammunition or one shot in the mouth. And one of the Confederates told him, "We thought you had been reinforced." "Nobody. We engaged you 5 times. We knew what was left of you. And we never thought that would happen, that you would be reinforced." At that point in history, I want you to think about how that one man affected history. Because historians, they say a lot of things. But they say that if he'd have failed, Gettysburg would have been lost. And if they'd have been lost, we'd have been the United States and the Confederacy. But other historians say, we'd be more like the broken territories in Europe. We'd be maybe 9 to 13 different segmented countries. And then what would happen when Hitler invaded Europe? Who would have stood up against him? And when Hirohito was bombing and clearing out all the islands in the Southwest, who would have stood up against him? No other nation in the world could fight a two-sided war because we had enough people, enough money, enough energy and will to continue. Having said that, you are no less an example of the butterfly effect than Joshua Chamberlain was. Everything you do matters. Everything you do matters. Every move you make, every action you take matters. Not just your family, not just your business, but people yet unborn. Everything matters to you and all of us forever. I want to bring you up to 2004. ABC News used to have a thing in 2004 called Person of the Week. I don't know how many of you remember it, but generally, if you were halfway intelligent, you could sit there and go, oh, I know who that person is, because they'd tell you. Oh, yeah, I know that person. So the Person of the Week for Friday, April 2nd, 2004 was Norman Borlaug? What? Norman Borlaug? Norman Borlaug is famous, was named Person of the Week because he developed a hybrid strain of corn and wheat that was disease and drought resistant. And it is estimated that this combination, because it would grow in arid countries, in countries that had never grown before, that over 2 billion lives have been saved. Wow, Norman Borlaug's really something. But wait a minute. What about Henry Wallace? Henry Wallace, you say? Henry Wallace was a vice president under Roosevelt. You go, no, he wasn't. Truman. But Roosevelt had 4 terms and 3 vice presidents. And while Wallace was vice president from 41 to 45, he opened a station in Mexico designed to study raising crops in an arid climate. And he put Norman Borlaug in charge. So Henry Wallace should get the award, right? No, not maybe. Maybe George Washington Carver should get the award. George Washington Carver, why should he get the award? George Washington Carver happened to be going to Iowa State University, and the director of science there let his 6-year-old son every weekend travel with this bright student of his to the botanical marvel and ignited his mind to the marvels of botanical substances and ideas that allowed him to create the opening for Norman Borlaug. So George Washington Carver also, in case you don't remember, he developed 266 unique ways to eat for the peanut. And he developed 66 unique ways to use sweet potatoes. So George Washington Carver saved 2 billion people. He should get the Person of the Week, right? Well, no, not really. Really, maybe it was Moses, a farmer back in the slave-held Missouri, Diamond, Missouri. Only he wasn't a slave. And this is the kind of person that Quantrell's raiders really like to get a hold of. And at one time, they raided his yard, and they took a bunch of people, including Mary Washington and her infant son. Susan Carver was distraught. Moses, they've taken Mary's son. He wasn't that old. What are we going to do? He didn't know what to do. He was in that, right? So Susan used her connections and do a backdoor to contact Quantrell's raiders, which she used so that her husband could go meet with them in the middle of the night near the Kansas line. And as he was leaving on their rolling horse, she wondered how that would fare. We got to the place where he was to meet Quantrell's raiders, and he gave them his horse. And they threw a bag down, a burlap bag on the ground. And he picked it up as fast as he could. And inside was a tiny baby, barely alive. And he wrapped it in his shirt next to his skin to keep it warm. And he walked back home through the night. And he walked till the morning. And he finally got him home. And they loved that baby. And they honored Mary by giving him their name, George Washington Carver. So maybe Susan Carver should have got the award for the person of the week. And so on, and so on, and so on. So you see that one man can make a difference in the fate of the United States. And one person can make a difference in feeding 2 billion or more people. There are generations yet unborn whose very lives will be shifted and shaped by the moves that you will make. And the actions you take today and tomorrow and the next day, every single thing you do matters. Every single thing you do matters. You have been created in order that you might make a difference. You have within you the power to change the world. The very beating of your heart has meaning. Your actions have value greater than silver and gold. Your life and what you do with it today matters forever. So in answer to my first question, how significant is my life? How significant do you think it is?